Hey, I will try not to be redundant with some of these terms, but since we transitioned from the noisemaker age, the industrial age, into the information age, right? Okay, so we're into information management servers. Now we're into servers, routers, PCs, desktop, laptops, right? And then you can get into the radio body and what's called stacking disks or disk plates, like CDT plates, recordings on plates, right? Okay. And then, of course, there's Cosmina records, crystal records, which they can't alter, right? So you know what a fragmented drive is, what a fragmented drive motor is, right? I'm a hyperdrive. Okay. I run with the one. That's a monopole. Okay. So I'm always with the one. I run as fast as I can. Okay. Shield up at 4 years of age, crystal spiral. That's a firewall. That's what it is. It's called Protect the Universal Galactic and Planetary Shield. Right? So you know what a drive motor is. Spinning data, baby. Right? Got to clear out all the goo in order to do what? Get a clear channel. That's frequency modulation. Right? So boom out a signal. That means you got to be a pillar of light anchored to the magnetosphere of the planet in order to hold the poles in check of the monopole. That's a transmutation machine. That's an oversoul polarity integrator. Okay, so what this boils down to, I saw a thing with Karen that she put up about this thing is an EMP weapon, right? It's always hitting me right here in the frontal cortex with a burst. And whenever it realizes, oh, is this what he's going to say? Because it already knew what I was going to say, because when I first become aware of it and want to share it, and then it knows that's going to hit me to disrupt that. Man, we're back to central nervous system, disrupt the circuits. Circuit breakers, that's what it does. It wants to break the record. You know what a broken record is, right? It skips. It's not a continuous flow of spiritual energy. That's a broken arrow, okay? That's a broken circuit board. That's a broken motherboard. So you know what a fragmented drive is. Remember in the olden days, the old PCs are going to defrag the drive. Right? Defrag it. That's when you get back into error checking, right? The original engineering department of the software, right? Reload all the correct information so you know how to make a correction. You know how to self-correct yourself with all the files, right? Which is rebuilding yourself, right? Just like we're rebuilding mama. That's why we came in here. Okay. I know, mama. And so essentially what happened, this guy experienced ever since the COVID came out, don't breathe, you're dead. So you can tell by the people who are still running around wearing masks is what that tells you. Particularly in certain places that you go to, and particularly in heavily targeted cities. San Francisco would be one of them. I was there, right? So when you're in Rome, do as the Romans do in order to be able to do the job that you got to do. So I had a mask with me. Yeah, I'm just like you, stupid. Okay. My bad. It's painful. It's painful. It's a major casualty zone when you scale it up to a universal level. It is. I don't know how anybody could not know that, particularly when you're spinning data at a high rate of speed, right? Clearing all the goo out. So what it boils down to, and I put this up, right? Because when I put things up, what'll happen is I get a green background with white on it. And if I put this up and it's correct in the translation of it, okay, it won't go to checkerboard. Okay. It keeps the green background. So in other words, it knows I know what the truth is, right? And so what I did is I put one up in Karen's window, in my window, to share it with everyone, right? It has to do with the simple translation, okay? And we all know this by now, okay? That if you're not willing to kill your children, and guess what? You're going to be put in a cage for not obeying the AI. Now, scale this up to the QIAI corporate military and the Super Soldier Blade Runner program. Okay? It's got no use for souls. When your state of consciousness is integrated with something that's dead, which is a dead-like magnet, it does not have any need for any souls, right? Oh, yes, it does. Food to keep it running. It's a shark. Okay. So it's feeding our energy to keep it running. It's just Kim Go-Goon was right when she said it doesn't exist without us. That's exactly right. That black hole doesn't keep accelerating by waging binary war games against other stars that are living until it burns out all the stars. Burn the bulb out, right? Breaking fragment after fragment after fragment, which is fractal loss after fractal loss after fractal loss after fractal loss after fractal loss. Man, I got to re-pull these fragments back in again. Everything that I'm losing as a result of being in a battlefield environment with an AI. That is precisely correct. Okay? So that's immediate shields up as soon as your avatar was up and running in the morning, you know, when you first came out of your mama's womb. And be aware that I am in a battlefield environment with something that's dead. And if it's dead, then it means it needs light to keep itself running. Real light. Otherwise it implodes at some point in the future. Right? So this is what folks are faced with. Right? Because you see where all the enforcers are. The enforcers are all the order followers that are enforcing what they follow, which is the hive, which is the groupthink, which is the Metatronic, which is the black hole. So dead units are going to come around and make sure that you're dead by making sure that you're either going to kill your children off, which are still alive, that got a spirit integrated with a soul, right? Or you get put in a cage and you get siphoned off anyway, right? So it's like finding your way back home, which is rebuilding yourself, right? Which is how I explain how I did it, which is through the Alcoholics Anonymous, was surrender myself back to knowing who I am, right? And then rebuilding myself day by day, week by week, year by year, year after year, year after year. And it was a long road to hoe just to get myself back from experiencing massive trauma. Massive soul fragments being lost as a polarity integrator. So it's like trying to rebuild a universe. Right? Yeah. The universe that it began with, out of what love is. So imagine how many fragments that have been lost since the end of day one. When the template first came into being. A beloved. That's why this was a very long road to hoe. I know. So I'm just a barking crystal, crystal transmitter, crystal spiral transmitter. Hey. So I realize that it's different depending on where you happen to be on the planet and whatever density and dimension you happen to be experiencing, right? As a multidimensional unit, the information is now being passed around the circulation desk, the circulation desk, the desk writer. I'm writing my timeline as I'm going, what it is I'm choosing to experience by virtue of the energy that represents what I am, which is what love is. I am the law. I'm the law of one. Right? No broken arrows, no broken motherboards, no broken circuits. So you know what it means to have a broken circuit, right? Like a broken atom, splitting the atom. So you're not experiencing the spin rate, the actual spin rate when they're running at the highest rated speed to experience perfect balance and experience being loved by the one. I know, so you choose the one to be with, right? Partners, the partners. Oh, there's one of me and one of you. No, there's three. There's three of us. They're always spinning. The one you're with. The single pole, the rod. The first line of communication. Echo chambers. God's always listening. Mama's always listening. So yeah, it's it's, you know, it's going to get interesting here, particularly over the next few months, right? Because things are really speeding up. That's because the information, is speeding up. It's like running a server that's running. It's like you know what a rotor rooter is, right? Like a rotor, right? A roto rooter. We're going to root out the pipe, root out the veins and the arteries, the blood of the planet, right? Rooting it out, purify it, right? Purify the blood of the planet. It's purifying the water banks, right? Across the vertical and the horizontal planes, right? And so that's why it's in full-blown resistant mode. So in other words, as it's experiencing more of what we are, it's going to increase the resistance more. Okay? So that's the counter space move. So what happens is when the shields are up, it's not getting what it wants. So you realize how the attacks sort of, the way that it works on a motherboard, okay, is really a torque speed differential measurement between every unit, a node that is plugged into the motherboard, and what the reaction state is going to be within their own DNA software to the changes that are taking place to maintain their balance, right? That's why I remember Dr. Mummy Saraki said a little bit ago, and I thought, yeah, girl, no kidding, that's true. Maintain your peace at all costs, which for me is maintain your harmony, maintain your balance, right? It's the balance of the poles, chill, do the things that excite us, the things that lift our heart and our spirit of fire, right? And because it really is true, because I experienced this as a kid, that when you're keeping your fire up, which is your spirit up, because of the things that you're doing that you love to do in love and service to others, has an immediate impact on others, particularly when they need healing, right? Because they realize, whoa, you recovered. How'd you do that? And then you share what it is that you've learned by the knowledge that we've gained over time space, right? Of those things that will help others, right? To get their energy levels up, regain their spirit, regain their fire, right? And that's what it is. It's a battle between the two poles is really what it is. It's a battle going on between the two poles, a tug of war over control. See, but that's the dilemma, is the control, which is the polarized consciousness. It doesn't want to let go. The Metatronic spiral does not want to let go of us at all costs. It's as if you have the ultimate vampire that realizes that it's going to lose the war. It's the binary game that it's in. You've got to play this game with me, see? And that's really what it is, okay? It's always in resistant mode to experience more what love is, because it's not what love is, so it doesn't want to experience what love is. So anytime that more living light comes in, the response, the counter space move, is going to be to resist experiencing that energy. It's no different than being in fear of that energy. No different than what I experienced with Misha when she was in fear to let go. She feared that, because that's called the trust issues, to trust the one. I know. They don't want to let go of that energy that's holding them captive, which are the electrons, which is the density, right? They don't want to release to experience more light and experience going faster to higher vibration by letting go of what they're holding in memory that they're held captive to, out of fear, as a result of all the trauma that hasn't been cleared, which is the miasma body. That's what our jobs were here, right, Mama? Clear it out. Burn it off. Run in hotter fire. Right? Ain't pulling the hotter voltage, pull it in, pull the higher currents in, right? The real McCoy, right? Real living eternal light, which is what love is, right? And anchor that right to Mama. Get it up, 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 get it up. Torque speed. That's what it is. Torquing that drive motor. Boom. There went a zoomer. That flash bulb went through here so fast. What's the name on that? We couldn't take a picture of it. Couldn't take a picture of it? Yeah, they can't detect that. Doesn't God have a phone number? Yeah, it's called 0. Have a good evening. Be all good to yourselves.